test 1 2. Check test 1 2. Check test 1 2. Check test 1 2. Check. Check test 1 2.
No, you're good. I'm just checking. Make sure it doesn't move.
Check test 1 2. Check test. 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 Check test 1 2. Check test 1 2. All right. How about right here? We're gonna get it. Check test 1 2. 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 That's it. That's what we're doing. Check test 1 2. There it is. Check test. Check test.
and welcome to the beautiful Akron Civic Theatre. We're honored to have you here for Mayor Shammas Malik's first State of the City address. Let's begin with a special video presentation. Good evening, and welcome to the beautiful Akron Civic Theatre. We're honored to have you here for Mayor Shammas Malik's first State of the City address. Let's begin with a special video presentation. To officially start our program, we ask those who are able to rise for the presentation of colors by the Akron Police Department Honor Guard. And we ask that you remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance led by I. School 8th grade student, Christian Nurse, followed by our national anthem, sung by City of Akron firefighter Andrew Fuller.
Ready? Pose. Reset. On. Order. On.
Please be seated. For a moment of reflection, we welcome Father Norm Douglas of St. Vincent de Paul Catholic Parish.
Hello, everyone. Usually you stand for prayer, but I'm giving you permission to stay seated. Okay, this event is already awesome. Let's pray. Oh God, source of all goodness, justice, and peace, we come together as a community of Akron, united in our love for this city and its people. We thank you for your blessings and for the wisdom and strength you provide in times of challenge. Guide us as we strive to make Akron all the more a beacon of hope, prosperity, and inclusion. May we be inspired by your spirit within us to foster unity and, where needed, reconciliation. Help us to overcome fear of differences and to cultivate creative solutions in our diverse community. Bless our mayor, especially on this his birthday, and all our leaders with the vision, boldness, integrity, and compassion to guide our city toward ongoing development and a deep sense of responsibility for the welfare of all Akron residents. We pray for our government agencies and safety forces, our businesses and nonprofits, our faith communities and diverse citizen initiatives, that we may work together and contribute to the vibrant spirit of Akron benefiting everyone. We lift up our schools to you. Bless our students, teachers, and parents with strength, patience, and guidance. May our schools be safe places for learning and growth, shaping the future leaders of our community. Guide us as we respond to those young people and others who are especially influenced by violence. With our initiatives and example, help them to experience the value of life, the power of love, and the importance of all of us coming together to end hatred and violence and welcome opportunities for all. Help us remember that we are different and that we are alike, that we all love, fear, hurt, and care deeply about the things that matter to us. You, our divine creator, have chosen us to partner with you in making our world more the way you meant it to be. May we continue to build a stronger, welcoming community for all who live here now and all who are yet to come. Amen.
And now, let's enjoy a special performance by the dynamic dance troupe, the Black Beatles. To share an original poem, please welcome local poet and Akron Black Artists Guild member, Tamika Taylor.
Good evening, and thank you to Mayor Malik and the City of Akron for inviting me out tonight. I'm going to do two poems. They're kind of odes to the city. The first is called The City on the Hill. City on the hill, reaching for higher heights, searching for and redefining what life looks like, what leadership looks like, what fighting the good fight while sleeping peacefully at night looks like, turning up the light to guide our children while turning down the noise so we can truly hear them. City on the hill, I love it when you shine. When it seems you've beaten time into submission, forcing it to stand still while you heal, recover, re-energize, and move towards your destiny. Reaching back while looking forward, never forgetting hot, sad summers, while also never letting those truths overcome you. Remembering your position gives you a unique perspective. It allows you to not only accomplish, but define the directive. City on the hill, still, you are the guide, leading a people, marching together, learning together, and taking life in stride. Thank you. The second poem is called Standing in Truth. Together we stand, facing the horizon, waiting for the sun to rise on brighter days. Never taking lightly the challenges ahead. Instead, holding fast to the truths history has shown. Never lead alone. Make the trenches your home until the power of your light touches, heals, and mends every darkened space. Accept the outstretched hands of those willing to keep the pace. And even if there is fear in confronting mammoth responsibilities that can be as obscure as the arrows of your enemies in the dead of night, remember, if you stand, if we stand, flat-footed, arm in arm, with truth and compassion on our lips, with strength and honor in our hands, we will be together, facing the horizon as the sun rises on brighter days we have commanded. Thank you.
And finally, to introduce Mayoral, please welcome Akron Urban League Board member and community volunteer, Barb Green.
Good evening. My husband and I moved to Akron 28 years ago, and today we are absolutely in love with this community. So I am immensely honored to be able to introduce our Mayor Shammas Malik to you, though he truly doesn't need an introduction. Shammas's trajectory to become our city's mayor has been nothing short of remarkable, both for himself and our community. A graduate of Harvard Law School, Mayor Malik had myriad options for his postgraduate employment and place to live. Are we lucky or what that he chose to come back to his hometown and serve our community? His path to becoming our mayor has been relatively short and has encompassed positions in the City of Akron's law department, the law firm of Voris, Sater & Peace, and then back again with the city as its Ward 8 city councilman. I met Shammas when he was campaigning for city council and was canvassing door to door through our neighborhood. I was impressed with his knowledge, passion, commitment to democratic practices, and hard work in his quest to become a city councilman. I've been supporting him ever since, and my admiration and respect continue to grow. Have you been watching our talented mayor in his first 100 days of office? I am captivated by his ability to listen to others and engage people into conversations and deliberations that make for informed policymaking and truly government for, by, and of the people. Our mayor is honoring the title and role of citizen to help shape the future legacy of Akron. Shammas is a gifted communicator who is adept at using multiple forms of media to proactively inform residents about key issues and to listen to the voices of many to shape his and his staff's decisions. He He's a true visionary who is transforming his vision into action and gauging its impact. Mayor Malik, along with the talents of so many others, is reinvigorating our city government with vibrancy, energy, creativity, passion, transparency, and hard work to form a more perfect city and community. Now, I know without a doubt that our fair city is blessed to have the talents and leadership of Mayor Malik, but I also know that there are and will be other communities and organizations wanting his talent. I want to keep him here for a very long time. So I believe it's incumbent upon all of us to give him time to learn and lead. Give him grace when he makes unpopular decisions or even stumbles. Give him an unwavering foundation of our community's support and celebrate his and our community's accomplishments. Let's make sure that the wind is always at Shammas's back in the very best of ways. Please join me in welcoming our Mayor Shammas Malik to present his very first State of the City of Akron address.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Good evening, Akron. It is an honor to be here with you tonight as we mark the first 100 days of my time in office and as we reflect on the state of our city. As many of you know, today is also my birthday, which is a fun coincidence. We were trying to figure out how many pallets of sheet cake from Acme it would take to feed all of you. We decided to go in a different direction. Today is also the holiday that marks the end of Ramadan, Eid al-Fitr. So hopefully I'll have even more energy than you've seen in the last month. But Eid is a celebration with good food, friends, and family. During the campaign, I talked a lot about my mom, Helen Kalori Kumar, and I can't begin tonight without thinking of her and also my brother Najim. I also want to take a moment and thank Alice Dewey for bringing happiness and joy to my life each and every day. I love you very much. And how about that national anthem? Akron's own firefighter, Adrian Fuller. We had a Pledge of Allegiance by Christian Nurse from I Promise School. He's interviewed me twice now. And also those amazing performers, the Black Beans. I first met the Black Beans a year ago at Summit Art Space. I've been amazed by the talents that Chomba, Kamana, Martin, Yashua, Samueli, Munga, and Malanga have. They're students at North High School and East High School. I followed their journey from right here in Akron to Los Angeles for the World of Dance Championships. Like all of our young people in our community, they give me hope for the future. I also want to thank our partners at the Akron Roundtable for hosting this event. I also want to thank the wonderful folks at the Akron Civic Theatre for supporting tonight as well. Perhaps most importantly, I want to thank the nearly 2,000 city employees who make our city government function day in and day out. If you are a city employee, could you please stand or wave a hand and be recognized? We are honored to have many elected officials with us here in the room, including our colleagues with Akron City Council. Could our council members please stand or wave a hand and be recognized here tonight? And if you could please remain standing, I'd ask all the elected officials in the room to stand. I'd particularly like to thank Mayor Andy Ginther from Columbus, who drove up tonight to be with us, as well as Kerry McCarthy with the Ohio Mayor's Alliance. and 2 more elected officials I'd like to thank. The first is County Executive Eileen Shapiro. The relationship between the mayor and the county executive is absolutely critical to moving our community forward. I am grateful for Executive Shapiro for her willingness to share her advice and share her experience with me as I start this new role. Thank you. I want to thank one elected official who is not with us tonight, although her staff are, Congresswoman Amelia Strong-Sykes. I think they're voting right now, but Congresswoman Sykes is a tremendous leader in our community. Someone who knows our issues because she's one of us. Someone who advocates for us with incredible strength and courage and resolve. We are so lucky to have her in Washington representing us. So as you entered the Civic tonight, you might have seen we had a little photo station set up. We asked you to take pictures and write down why you're excited about Akron. I just wanted to share a few of those thoughts with you this evening. So someone said they were excited for Akron to become the polymer city. Another person said they were excited for a new focus on sustainability. Some folks said that they were excited because the eclipse is finally behind us. I think that's the city staff who had to help prepare these last few months and did an amazing job. I think it just means we can start planning for 2044. But these are all great answers. My answer is a little bit different. The reason I'm excited for Akron is all of you. It's the energy for change that we are building together. Tonight, I want to focus on that change. Because when I think about the state of our city, I think about a state of change. I think about a city on the verge of big things, about positive momentum and forward movement. To put it plainly, I think the state of our city is changing for the better. Now, it's one thing to talk about change. I spent over a year doing that on the campaign trail all across the city. But it's another thing to see it come to life in the actions of our administration and our city government. Each day as I enter City Hall, I'm more and more hopeful about this city. Now, change is not easy. It's messy, it's stressful, it can be scary. We don't need change just for the sake of change. We need real, lasting, responsible, thoughtful change. We need new ways to address violence in our community. We need to make people feel seen and heard when they reach out to the city about an issue, no matter how big or how small. We need a permanent commitment to dismantling systemic racism and ensuring everyone in our community has real opportunity. We need to make our city government achieve its purpose, to make people's lives a little bit easier. At the swearing-in ceremony at E.J. Thomas Hall, Carla Davis so beautifully sang "A Change Is Gonna Come." I kind of want her to sing at all of these events. But Akron, tonight, I'm proud to say that change is here. Change is here, and it's happening right now. And it's a journey we are all on together. Now, today is just one early milestone in that journey. During the campaign, I shared with you a positive, hopeful vision for Akron, what we called Together for Akron. Safer together, with safety as our top priority. Learning together, supporting quality education. Living together, prioritizing health, housing, and the environment. And working together, focused on economic development and job opportunities in our neighborhoods and downtown. I said all of these things are possible by making City Hall more strategic, being more engaged with our residents and partner organizations in the community, and being more open and transparent, willing to listen and accept criticism. We took that vision, we crafted an ambitious agenda from it, and we worked tirelessly during the transition so that on day one we could hit the ground running with a clear set of priorities to get started on. And we've been working on that vision every day since. So what have we done? But we listed out 73 action items on our 100-day tracker. And then we put it online for all of you to see. Stephanie Marsh and I sat there today at our table and went through it. We have completed 55 of those items as of today, with another 18 in progress. I have some bad news for our staff. Almost all of those items are going to continue in one way or another. And we are going to continue to hold ourselves accountable and report back to you on our goals and our progress. In our first 100 days, I said we would prioritize communication and public engagement. We've shared a weekly email newsletter, streamed regular press conferences, engaged with our residents through social media, initiated regular discussions with business leaders, faith leaders, and folks across our community. We held a town hall in the police chief search at Garfield. We held a town hall in the budget at Firestone. We're going to have 2 town halls coming up at Bookdale. We're going to show off all these great CLC buildings. And tonight, I'm pleased to say that not only do we have our wonderful ASL interpreters here, but we're also having this speech simultaneously translated live into Nepali and Spanish. It's important to provide these kinds of accessibility so that everyone has an opportunity to participate in the process. Now, in looking back at my schedule, our team says that I've attended 109 community events in the last 100 days. I think it's higher than that. But these events included basketball games, several ward meetings, a celebration at Joy Park for the centenarians who've turned 100, and many more. My commitment to you is that you will continue to see me out in the community. I believe that in order to lead a city, you have to be present. And I don't really have a choice. I have 200,000 bosses, some in this room and some not in this room, and folks want to know what we're up to. So my choice is that we can communicate proactively, or I'm going to have to continue to do more and more explaining in the checkout line at Mustard Seed, or at our many coffee shops, at the gas station, and everywhere else. People stop me at the 7-Eleven now by my house. It's not great. I'm just trying to get some Chex Mix. But seriously, this is your city government. Our commitment to transparency, communication, and engagement will continue every single day of our administration. Now, city government's a team sport. We've been focused on building that team within City Hall. The transition gave us a chance to take a hard look at the organizational chart and to make some changes. We've eliminated some roles, we've moved some roles around, we've created some new roles. And I know this has created some concern. But I truly believe we're developing a city government that's more open, more responsive, more collaborative, and more strategic. Now, in working through our budget with City Council, we agreed to hold off on funding a public engagement strategist, a data transparency role, and an environmental policy role. But I'm committed to these functions as a core function of city government. And I look forward to proving how these roles can save us time, save us money, get you information quicker, and ultimately make all of our lives easier. I am very proud of the 2 exceptional leaders who make up our core leadership team. Brittany Grimes-Zeringer, our Chief of Staff, and Nanette Pitt, our Chief of Strategy. In creating these 2 roles, we are working to make sure that our city can handle complex day-to-day operations while also having dedicated staff capacity to work on longer-term community-wide initiatives that we seem to never just get to. I'm also energized by our cabinet and appointed staff. I'm tremendously grateful to the folks from the Horgan administration who agreed to stay on. I'm also thankful to the new faces who've taken a chance on me. And I'm proud each day watching these folks become a team. As I mentioned, it's a 2,000-person team in city government. And over the past 100 days, I've met with staff in every city department. I've listened to their perspectives. What can we do to help make their jobs easier? Just yesterday, we held a citywide webinar with our HR director, Montrell Jackson. We answered questions directly from employees on everything from remote work to hiring processes to my first pitch at the Rubber Ducks game, which was over the plate but in the dirt a little bit. And I look forward to continuing to meet with every office across city government in the coming days and weeks and months ahead. It's been one of the best things about my time as mayor so far. Because while I've been elected into a new role, I've worked in City Hall since 2016. I know that each role in city government is just as critical to Akron's success as my role. Now, it's easy to say that. It's really easy to say that. But you're going to see me live it out. Supporting our city employees, providing them with the training, support, and resources they need to succeed. This will always be a work in progress, but I think we've made a great start. For the first time in the city's history, we held an event for our employees to help celebrate Black History Month. We had food, music, spoken word, speakers. We held it at the Okasik building, which some of you may have seen as our new municipal courthouse. I was a little concerned. You know, it's a courthouse. We had the music bumping, we had line dancing. I was worried, and then I saw Judge Annalisa Williams line dancing. I felt we were a little bit better. If the presiding judge is okay with it, I think we're okay. But seriously, I heard from so many employees after that this small gesture of support and community meant a lot. So we did it again for Women's History Month, and we'll continue bringing our team together to build community, to build friendship, build support. And I am excited to be real partners with our Akron Municipal Court, our judges, probation, everyone who makes our third branch of city government function. We've also launched a volunteer time off program to help our employees as they give back and get more involved within our community. Our HR department recently launched a new set of trainings for all employees focused on career development skills that will help our employees on their career journeys. Investing in our employees as people first is crucial to supporting the future of our city workforce. And on that note, I'm happy to announce that this fall, the City of Akron will, for the first time, be launching employee resource groups for all our city employees. We will start with groups for empowering female employees, BIPOC employees, and LGBTQ+ employees, and all of their allies. These will be employee-led, with support from our team. We'll expand them as time goes on. But as some of our friends in the corporate community know, these groups have proven to help with employee engagement, retention, and workforce development. Because when employees feel they can bring their full selves to work, when they can be celebrated for who they are more productive, more engaged, and more likely to stay as part of our team. So I'm excited to see how these groups will benefit our team. Now, another focus of the 100 Days has been modernizing city operations. Everywhere I go, I hear folks talking about this 311 app. Now, it's against the rules of politics, wherever those are written down, but I have to give credit to someone else, because this app and its development were started under Mayor Horrigan and his team. But since launching this app in mid-January, we've had close to 4,000 downloads. We've processed roughly 1,300 service requests from the app. It may not seem like much, but this is a big step forward in how we as a city deliver basic city services. So if you haven't downloaded it yet, pull out your phone. Don't text, but pull out your phone and search Akron 311. Another big step forward is our snowplow tracker. Now, as a retired ward council member, I know that when snow falls, people want to know when they're going to see a plow on their street. This new dashboard provides real-time updates about the city's snow and ice operations as they're happening. Now, you can look at it as lucky or unlucky, but since we launched this in February, we really haven't needed it at all. But it will be there for future seasons, and I think it's going to be a hit. I want to give our IT department a lot of credit, led by Darren Rosnick, and our service department, led by Chris Ludwell, a huge hand for the snowplow tracker and the 311 app. So every year the city passes a capital budget and an operating budget. As the saying goes, budgets are moral documents. They help show the vision that we're putting in place. This year we passed the capital budget for city infrastructure and major projects. We invested in updated community centers at Patterson and Reservoir Park, and a new pool at Reservoir Park, Councilwoman. Concrete streets, a huge investment in city sidewalks, permanent speed tables, and more. We also decided to refocus our resurfacing efforts on our roads so that next year we won't have any carryover. Residents can expect that the 2024 roads will get done in 2024, the same for 2025 roads and future years beyond that. We did this all while budgeting the lowest amount of new general obligation debt in 6 years, prioritizing fiscal responsibility. And last month, we worked with City Council to pass an $815 million operating budget with investments for our city. The focus was on safety. You can clap. I think we're going to give me more to clap about, but the focus was on safety. We have the highest amount of APD officers in 20 years and the highest number of firefighter medics in 30 years. This isn't to throw people at problems. This is to recognize that the proactive work that we want to do, like community policing, violence intervention, community engagement, it requires having enough staff capacity for departments that have been stretched thin for too long. Too often, APD has to send our patrol officers from call to call to call to call, leaving them little time to spend a few minutes on a front porch building the relationships that our residents and our officers want to see. There's also acknowledgement that our Akron fire officers and our Akron police officers see difficult things. Not just them, but the dispatch folks as well. And we need to take care of them and make sure they don't get burned out. I want to thank the Akron Community Foundation. They are supporting a new app that provides resources and support to make sure that our officers and our safety forces have their emotional and mental health needs taken care of. Thank you very much. I want to take a moment and acknowledge City Council's role in the budget. I'll be very honest, the process over the last, it wasn't my favorite part of the 100 days. I spent so much time working to get elected. I wanted to make sure we had the resources we need to get things done. I want to make sure our core team has the capacity to make sure we don't get burned out, that we know how best to support each city department. But you all were elected too. And so while we may not agree on everything, I will always seek to work with you on City Council. I truly believe we can accomplish wonderful things for our city together. Thank you. Each of the 13 leaders of City Council brings unique perspectives to the table to make our city stronger. And at the end of the day, like all those 2,000 people, we're all on the same team. I'm also proud of the engagement we did during the budget process. We had a Facebook live stream with myself and Finance Director Steve Fricker. It was like a Today Show thing we were doing. And we also did the same thing at an in-person town hall. And next year, we're going to do more. It's my commitment to all of you that next year's budget will incorporate participatory budgeting for a portion of our expenditures. At the end of the day, this is taxpayer money. And so we want to make sure that taxpayers have a role, a direct role, in helping decide how that money is spent, especially when it comes to the capital projects that we're seeing in our neighborhoods. And we'll have more to announce on this as the year continues. Now, building the team, modernizing city operations, passing a budget, these are all core functions of a city government. But as I started, I mentioned that Together for Akron vision. And there's a lot to talk about here. Starting with our number one priority, public safety. This is one we could easily spend all night on. Safety is the number one priority for our residents. It will always be my top priority. We've been able to start addressing public safety in a number of ways. First, working in partnership with Summit County ADM Board, we've launched a co-responder pilot program called SCOUT, the Summit County Outreach Team, with a mental health responder from Portage Path Behavioral Health responding alongside Akron Police and Akron Fire to certain 911 calls where it's safe and effective to do so. This is quickly becoming a best practice program across the country. It can create better outcomes for our residents. It can free up officer time to focus on the community policing and violence prevention we need them to do. And it's working. Over the first month, Scout has taken 85 calls for service. They've safely transported 16 patients for further treatment. Now, dozens of folks across the city and beyond work to make this a reality. And I'm looking forward to seeing this partnership grow by leaps and bounds in the months and years ahead. We've also sworn in a new class of Akron firefighters right here on this stage to help address the safety issues and staffing needs for Akron Fire and EMS, especially as we saw AMR pull out with our non-emergency responses last summer. We've also launched the next cadet class for Akron Police, one of the most diverse classes of cadets we've ever had in the history of the department. We're really glad to have many folks from Akron Fire and Akron Police here with us tonight. If you're a member of our safety forces, could you please stand and be recognized? Thank you for your service. On the campaign trail, I talked about how for years the Harold K. Stubbs Justice Center building, where we house our Akron Police Department, has deteriorated. And we've needed a permanent decision on the future of the police station building. I gave myself a deadline, 6 months in office. Now, the city has previously explored the option of rehabbing the existing building, and over the last few months, we've solicited proposals for renovating another building or new construction. I'm proud to say that as of last week, when the deadline closed, we've received proposals for 8 different sites, along with a number of city proposed sites. I picked a bad week to get a cold. But as a next step, we are going to work to partner with an architectural firm to determine the best option and what we can afford, frankly. But we cannot prioritize public safety if we continue to let the current building deteriorate. So by the end of June, we will have a final decision on the future of the police station that we will take to City Council. One big step we've taken in the first few months is continuing to improve how we tackle gun violence. I've spent time meeting with our federal and state partners, our ATF director in Washington, D.C., our safety director in Columbus, the U.S. Marshals, the United States Attorney. Several of us traveled down to Cincinnati to see how their Crime Gun Intelligence Center works. Now, our gun violence reduction team is continuing to expand their work, tracing bullets that we find on a scene to unsolved shootings, connecting the dots to hold people accountable who are involved in gun violence. But I want to be clear. We cannot solve the gun violence we are seeing simply through policing. So tonight, I'm announcing a new program focused on community violence intervention. This summer, we will launch a street team pilot program. This program will hire and train credible messengers, people who are able to speak directly with those who are most likely to be involved in gun violence, especially our young people, because they have lived experience, a history of involvement with our criminal justice system. These credible messengers will be lifelines in our neighborhoods. They will help our kids see a brighter future. They will help our youth understand the consequences of their actions while providing them with support and options that allow them to develop goals and take steps to reach them. These kinds of programs have proven their effectiveness across the country, and it's time we bring these interventions to Akron. We will also pursue our other efforts, continuing our funding of violence prevention efforts with many of our community nonprofit groups, mentorship opportunities, pursuing hospital-linked intervention programs with our healthcare partners, our faith-based initiatives, and much more. As folks know, we are also conducting a police chief search process with your input. We shared a survey, and we've got 1,541 community responses and 182 internal responses from our department. And here's what we've learned from those surveys. Residents want the police department to focus on crime reduction and prevention. And they'd like officers to have the opportunity to have more of those positive daily interactions I was talking about. Residents want the city to increase diversity in the department, particularly racial diversity, hiring officers that reflect and represent the diverse communities in Akron. Residents also want the department to treat all members of the community equally. Survey respondents called on the city to select a new police chief who is committed to positive changes and will hold the department accountable, selecting someone who has a track record of community engagement and who knows our city. From within the internal department responses, they also reflected a yearning for more positive, affirming, supportive interactions and relationship with the community, and a desire for leadership that will help encourage and support officers, leading by example and building trust with the community. Officers are proud of the training they receive, but they would like to see better equipment. We'll take that. As you know, this process has been difficult. We started the process last fall. We sought to cast a broad net, external and internal candidates, supervisors of every rank, based on the city's past practice. In January, our law department came to me and they shared their opinion and the opinion of outside counsel, that under our city charter, I did not have the authority to cast that wide net, that I couldn't include external candidates or candidates of lower rank with the department. Now, I have a lot of respect for the internal candidates, but this came as unwelcome and very frustrating news. But the more we dug into it, we couldn't find fault with the legal reasoning. This has been the hardest thing that I've dealt with in this job. Folks I respect and look up to have asked me to pause the process while we wait to pass a charter amendment in November. And many of those concerns are rooted in another reality: the lack of diversity in the upper ranks of our Akron Police Department, our Akron Fire Department, and many city departments across our city. Let me be clear, I am committed to making real, meaningful progress as quickly as possible in ensuring every kind of diversity, especially racial diversity, in leadership across the city. But I also want to recognize that the hard work of changing systems cannot be done in just 100 days. I spent a lot of time reflecting on this, and I continue to. But I also owe you my best judgment. And I really believe that in order to undertake that systemic change, we need a permanent police chief who can lead the department, who can implement a vision, who can make decisions in a way that an acting chief simply cannot. A permanent police chief helps us prioritize public safety for our city by establishing that vision, by pushing forward policy changes, by leading our department towards real community policing. A permanent chief is in a much better position to assist us with this year's union negotiations, which will be critical to securing needed changes, especially in the hiring and promotional process for years to come. Having an acting chief for a period of time is understandable. In my opinion, having an acting chief for over a year will delay and make everything else we want to accomplish more difficult. Real system-wide change takes much longer than 100 days, but I remain as committed as ever to the promises I've made about leading that change here in Akron. This month, we'll hold 2 community town halls at Bookdale CLC on Saturday, April 20th and on April 23rd. So everyone can have an opportunity to meet both of the candidates for chief and ask them the questions that matter most to them. So again, we are doing this together. And I'm committed to bringing a charter amendment to be placed before the voters in November that will broaden our candidate pool for police and fire leadership, for chief and deputy chief in future searches. In the coming weeks, we'll announce the members of the committee to lead the drafting of that amendment. And I've invited the Black elected officials of Summit County to participate as a part of that committee, given the clear concerns that they have shared as an organization. Now, our community has taken significant steps in recent years to strengthen accountability and transparency within the Akron Police Department, recognizing that bridging trust gaps is critical, particularly in how our police interact with our Black community. That's why I push for issue 10, so that the Oversight Board and the Auditor's Office can be a bridge. Over the past year, the board has worked to get up and running. And just in the last few weeks, our auditor has joined us. Today, we are glad to welcome Anthony Fennell as the city's independent police auditor. Mr. Fennell, my administration will always seek to work with you, to work collaboratively and constructively with your office. I'd ask Mr. Fennell and the board members present to stand and be recognized for their service as well. On a somber note, 10 days ago we had an officer-involved shooting here in Akron on Britton Road. We are thankful that the teenager who was shot was not more seriously injured, and that the officer is okay. My administration released the body camera footage, including the entire interaction between the teenager and the officer, to show our community the entire context of the situation. We also released the officer's personnel file, and we anticipate being able to share more information in the coming weeks. For incidents like this, you may not hear me say much at first. I have an obligation to let the process play out, to let the State Bureau of Criminal Investigation, the internal investigators, and Mr. Fennell and his team to do their jobs. But again, I will share all that I can, as I am able to, in a timely and transparent way. But I want everyone to know, avoiding tragedies is of the utmost importance to me. Shortly before I started this job, retiring Chief Steve Milet let me know that APD has been reviewing the department's vehicle pursuit policy. Over the last few months, there's been a lot of continued internal discussion. Tonight, I'm announcing an updated chief's order related to the vehicle pursuit policy, which will go into effect tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. and will be finalized by the end of this month. Under this update, our department will no longer conduct vehicle chases for equipment violations alone, such as a broken side mirror or tail light. Officers will retain the discretion to chase for traffic violations, but this is a common sense change that will eliminate some unnecessary chases. In the coming months, we will be reviewing and revising other policies, including around chemical spray and crowd control. We'll do that in partnership with the Auditor's Office, we'll do that in partnership with the Akron Police Department, and we'll do this with opportunities for the public to comment as well. My takeaway from issue 10 is that we have to keep working on this, facing these issues together, allowing for nuance, grasping and keeping hold of the humanity of the people involved, finding solutions that allow our officers to do the work we need them to do, while absolutely ensuring that all of our residents are treated with dignity and respect. As I was on the campaign trail last year, I was asking residents what concerns them most, and just behind public safety was education. Making sure our students have opportunities that help them thrive. Knowing how important this is, I made it a priority for our administration to get more involved with Akron's youth and with our biggest educational partner, Akron Public Schools. That priority has taken shape in a number of different ways. First, we've hired Rochelle Wardell as the city's education and health strategist, and we're lucky to have Danico Buckley-Knight continue with his work as our youth opportunity strategist. You know, sometimes I think when folks hear the word strategist, they think of some folks sitting around in a think tank being paid to look up fancy ideas. Now, this is not the type of strategy team we've created. Rochelle, Danico, and the rest of the team have been out in the community, building partnerships, and talking about and moving forward on actionable solutions to the problems facing our city. As I said at the beginning, in many cases, these are solutions we've been talking about for years, but we haven't had the capacity to truly tackle these issues. We don't have an education department in City Hall, but now we have someone at the city waking up each and every day focused only on education and health. We will continue building our partnership with Akron Public Schools, and especially working with our Parks and Rec Department and APS to build out the access to our community learning centers, which are amazing assets in our community. We are also strengthening relationships with our other educational institutions. The University of Akron has got to be the engine of Akron's economic growth. And we will continue working with them and with Stark State and Kent State and all of our educational partners. We have many of them in the room tonight. I want to thank our educational leaders here tonight for their continued collaboration. Now, one of the most important initiatives that I hope to tackle over these next few years is universal pre-K. As a community, we were... If you give me the opportunity, I'll get some water. As a community, we were beginning to tackle this before COVID. And now we are recommitting ourselves to this work. It won't happen overnight, but we are committed to working with all of our pre-K providers in a community to achieve our common goal, that every family in Akron has access to quality, affordable early learning, setting a foundation for lifelong learning and prosperity. And I particularly want to thank our APS superintendent, Dr. Michael Robinson, who's leading the way with a shift from half-day to full K pre-kindergarten. We will continue to support APS's efforts, but in education and in most issues, so much of this work is done in partnership with community organizations. I want to thank all of our philanthropic partners, including Akron Community Foundation, GAR Foundation, Dyke Foundation, United Way, Summit Medina, and many others in the space for their efforts in moving our community forward. Thank you all. And I want to dive into one of those partnerships in particular tonight. Now, the city doesn't control what happens in classrooms or what happens in homes, but we have an opportunity to play an even bigger role in our youth extracurricular opportunities, what they call the out-of-school time. And that's where Youth Success Summit comes in. Now, this program will officially launch in June. Actually, it says July. But it's already making a huge impact in Akron. Youth Success Summit is going to be a new backbone organization of out-of-school time providers, empowering these providers to deliver high-quality programs that meet the needs of our youth. YSS's Mentoring Collaborative is already operational, and their team's hard at work under the guidance of Executive Director Rachel Tecca and founding consultant Ellen McWilliams-Woods. We as a city have made a significant commitment to creating and equipping YSS over the last few years, and that commitment will continue. Taking this proactive role as the strategic partner in this organization will allow us not only to invest in the future of our youth, but also to lay the groundwork for a stronger and more resilient community for the future. Because truly, Akron will succeed or fail based on whether young people growing up here see a future for themselves here in our community. Youth Success Summit will serve as a hub for connecting families to after-school and summer activities, as well as work-based learning opportunities. It marks a significant milestone in our community's commitment to our youth. But perhaps most importantly, it represents a call for collaboration and partnership, bringing together these providers, community leaders, educators, families. We're not only amplifying our impact, but we're forging a stronger and more interconnected network when it comes to our youth. Now, our efforts at collaboration don't stop with our youth. When it comes to working together and economic development, Akron's future is bright. My mom taught chemical engineering at the University of Akron. Many of you have heard me say that. But what I haven't said as much is that her office was the small, not that good-looking building next to the glittering polymer science building. So for exactly 33 years, I have been waiting for polymers to happen. And folks, thanks to the efforts of dozens of companies here in Northeast Ohio, and the Greater Akron Chamber and the leadership of Steve Millard, we are this close. Right now, we are competing for $40 million of state funding and $70 million in federal funding to take our industry to the next level, and for the rubber city to finally become the polymer city. I made that pitch at the U.S. Department of Commerce in D.C. I forgot my wallet, but I had enough time to go back and get it. And we will continue to lobby around this exciting opportunity. Fiber internet is also a part of the economy of the future. We announced earlier this year that the City of Akron will partner with Sci-Fi Networks to create citywide fiber access, a $200 million private investment where the city's main contribution will be simply processing utility permits faster. And we will also continue exploring a partnership with Summit County around Summit Connects, a county-wide fiber ring. We're also going to tackle the future of the Internet. It's a historic scar in our city, but it's an opportunity for a new beginning, especially as we enter next year in the bicentennial. We know the history of the Akron Interbelt thanks to a lot of good work, especially the work of my friend Mark Greer. Using a federal grant from the Department of Transportation, we are going to work hand in hand with the community to determine what's next for this area. Working with residents, not to them. We will release tomorrow a request for qualifications to identify a planning firm to help us game out what the future of this space is, to determine the plan for the decommissioned part of the Interbelt. And I look forward to what's to come in that historic area. Across the city, folks are worried about downtowns. Tonight we are announcing that this summer we are going to create a new downtown community development corporation. Drawing on the success We're going to draw on the success of our neighborhood CDCs, because in reality, downtown is a neighborhood too. We need someone who wakes up every day thinking about downtown real estate, attracting businesses, jobs, and residents to right here on Main Street. But that work can't only be funded by the public sector. We've done a lot of heavy lifting, but we're going to get this up and running, and I'm going to be asking our corporate community to help lead this CDC and help build the future of downtown Akron. From my time as a ward councilman, I also know the importance of our neighborhoods. Each neighborhood has different needs, and in each neighborhood we're working with our partner organizations like those CDCs, as well as the Summit County Land Bank and others, to support our small businesses, remove blighted buildings, and grow our community. From Kenmore to North Hill to Firestone Park to Summit Lake, our neighborhoods each need different kinds of support. And our planning department under Kyle Julian and our economic development department under Susie Graham Moore are working together through integrated development to help bring that to life. Three down, one to go. We have our final piece of Together for Akron, what I've called Living Together, around health, housing, and the environment. When it comes to environmental sustainability, right now, all around the world, we're faced with the reality that every community must take steps to prevent climate change and move towards a clean energy future, or else there isn't going to be much of a planet left for future generations. Here in Akron, we've made a lot of progress over the years, but we have often looked at environmental issues as a luxury, something we can't really afford to prioritize. The reality is that preserving and restoring the health of our environment is critical, and the rest of the world is moving urgently towards a more sustainable future. We can either lead on that and be a part of the solution, or get left behind by the green economy of the future. We've got amazing natural resources. We all know about our park systems, our waterways, our tree canopy, but they're not going to last forever if we don't have policies that value them in development conversations. And all across Akron, but especially in East Akron, there are properties and neighborhoods still facing injustices of our past. Injustices we have to clean up and ensure we don't repeat. On Betty Street in Middlebury, residents have spent more than 25 years organizing against a waste transfer station that sits about 50 feet from their homes. Our commitment to sustainability isn't only about mitigating climate change or making environmental progress. It's about doing the right thing by all of our residents and working towards more equitable outcomes. In our first 100 days, we've made a lot of progress. Casey Shevlin has joined our cabinet as the City of Akron's first ever Director of Sustainability and Resiliency. I was waiting for some booze or some thrown fruit from our friends over at First Energy, where Casey came from, but as Tracy Carter said, we don't steal grown folks. We were glad to participate in January in the Environmental Justice Coalition Community Forum, and Casey has continued with many of the conversations with individuals and organizations that attended that event. She is going to be working hard on continued engagement on a range of sustainability topics and building out what that office looks like, coordinating a lot of different efforts across our city government. Akron has also joined a statewide coalition, Power Clean Future Ohio. We are the 50th participating community and the last of our major cities to join. Now, as many folks know, I'm pretty competitive, and Mayor Ginther, we've got some catching up to do, but we are going to, because Power Clean Future Ohio is going to provide us with free tools to create and implement carbon reduction plans that are measurable and economical. We were also lucky to be chosen as one of 25 cities nationwide and 5 cities in Ohio to be a part of the Bloomberg American Sustainable Cities program. Now, as part of this program, Bloomberg Philanthropies will fund an innovation team over 3 years, and those staff will be chosen from the local talent pool. And they will help us in our new environmental office tackle projects at the intersection of environmental sustainability and racial inequality. These are great steps, but there's significant work ahead, and I'm looking forward to updating you on the milestones to come. And while we focus on the environment, we also have to put an emphasis on housing. So we're improving how we enforce our housing code to make sure everyone is living in humane conditions in our city. In the last few weeks, our housing inspectors have moved from pen and paper to using tablets for their inspections. I talked about getting folks the resources and the support to be able to do their jobs. This will allow our awesome staff in housing, to conduct more inspections every year in a more efficient way and stay ahead of issues instead of being purely reactive. Another issue that I've worked on for years that Maria and I worked on is right to counsel, which would help ensure that folks facing eviction in the city have some legal representation. It's the right thing to do, but it also makes a lot of fiscal sense. It saves millions of dollars for taxpayers. In Cleveland, right to counsel staff have helped negotiate move-outs, helped create settlements, keeping people out of homelessness. For the past 2 years, City Council and the previous administration worked to help identify ARPA funding for a right to counsel pilot program. Today, we're working closely with United Way of Summit Medina and Community Legal Aid, and we're closer than ever to bringing this needed support to our residents. I want to recognize and thank United Way CEO Jim Mullen and Legal Aid Executive Director Steve McGarity for their partnership on this important work. Now, throughout our city, there are residents who need help with their siding, with ADA accessibility, with their roofs, and on and on and on. The city's home repair program set up with ARPA funding was intended to provide some much needed help. And it's been slow to get up off the ground. But over the last few months, our team has been working to review the program, to reset the program, to get it on the right footing internally to show residents some results. And we will have more to share, bringing it before council in the coming months. And in the first week of my administration, I stopped by the overnight emergency homeless shelter that the Peter Morin Center runs on Vore Street. It's run, they want me to say here on the teleprompter, also by Summit County Continuum of Care and Community Support Services. I got that wrong as I was drafting this speech. They had about 70 people sitting there on mattresses spending the night. It was way more than they had anticipated. I sat with folks and I listened to their stories, how they ended up in this difficult position. The reality is that in America, across this country, and in Akron, homelessness is growing. And our administration is committed to finding new solutions, taking ideas that have worked elsewhere, and getting more support for the folks doing work here in Akron. So in this year's budget, we worked with council to allocate $1 million in new ARPA funds beyond our typical annual funding to support these new solutions. Now on this issue, like on most issues, I am not the expert. And so we are going to empower our city staff, like long-range planning manager Helen Tomick and Deputy Service Director Euphrancy Lash, with a goal of treating every resident with dignity and respect. So as you can see, we've done a lot in these past few months, but it is certainly not all about me. As I keep saying, it's a team effort. We've laid out a vision for the future of our city, and I'm incredibly proud of leading this team. Tonight I want to take a moment and highlight a couple of incredible highlights for folks who have done amazing things in the first 100 days. In the first 2 months of the year, 2 Akron police employees went above and beyond in the course of their everyday work. Detective Larry Rodeback performed CPR on an unconscious child until she was able to breathe again, saving her life. Similarly, Officer Adam Semchi located a kidnapped little boy and comforted him until he could be returned to his family. Both Detective Rodeback and Officer Semchi are here with us tonight. Could you please stand and be recognized for your efforts? And I know when I tell those stories that there are dozens or hundreds of other stories that are more everyday encounters that we could highlight, and we will continue to try to highlight from our safety forces. Another individual I want to highlight tonight is retiring Akron Fire Chief Joe Nacko. And I didn't know this until today. Today happens to be his birthday as well. Now, Chief Nacko is one of the most dedicated public servants most of us have had the pleasure of meeting. During the transition, Lori Pesci with Summit County pushed and pushed and pushed on us, and she made clear that we needed to make room at the city for more of a focus on emergency management, for preparedness when it comes to things like the eclipse and other emergencies. So I'm really thrilled to say that Chief Nacko has agreed to stay on with us as the first ever assistant to the mayor for emergency management. Knowing that, it says Joe, I'm not going to call him Joe, knowing that Chief Nacko is still working, diligently protecting our citizens, is a blessing to my administration and to our residents. Chief, can you please stand so that we can show you our appreciation? Now, the last story I have starts with Deputy Service Director Ufred C. Lash. He and his staff came to me early on in January, and they said that the Word Church building, formerly the Akron Baptist Temple, was a huge safety concern. That there were potentially people living inside, that it was at the very top of their list of buildings that need to be addressed. And from January to March, city staff across almost every department met every Thursday afternoon, from fire and police and service and finance and law, City Councilwoman Tina Boyes. We all sat here and we planned how to secure and demolish this historic structure, which is actually 7 enormous buildings. Our homelessness support organizations, including the COC, CSS, and Homeless Charity, were there providing support along the way. One of our newest staff members, Policy and Grants Manager Emma Lieberth-Osborne, and a longtime city employee, Sean Bowman, worked with the Ohio Department of Development and the Summit County Land Bank to identify $700,000 in funds to help cover this demolition. And on March 19th, on a very windy and cold day, Akron Police and Akron Fire walked through the building, secured it, and the demolition began. Now, I want to be clear, especially to the other council members, that this is the first but not the last. We know that there are buildings like this in every ward. And the demolition of the Word Church building is the story of what city government can be at its best. People coming together to address long-standing neighborhood concerns, creating a new future on abandoned land, getting things done, making people's lives easier. I had a ton of pride watching it happen, and I know we're just getting started. From that experience and from the entire 100 days, we've taken a couple lessons that will guide us. That listening matters, that communication and engagement has to be central to what we do, and that we can't do any of this work alone. And that's where you come in. I've said all along that I wanted this vision to be about more than just me, to be broader than even just our city government, that it's something that everyone in our community can be a part of. We have a city full of people who like to give back, who want to give back, who need to give back. And our administration is going to be sharing more ways in which we can leverage the energy for change that's in this room and in every room in our city. So tonight we have just one ask of you. With your program, you should have received a palm card for Youth Success Summit's Mentoring Collaborative. Now if you scan the QR code, it will take you a page where you can sign up for lots of different mentoring opportunities depending on your availability. Mentoring is a key activity that will continue to lift up because it can be such a benefit to young people in our community, helping them to see what's possible in their futures, but also because it's a learning and growing experience for mentors as well. So please check out the QR code. Please consider signing up for one of these programs. It will make a big difference in our community, and it can make a big difference in your life as well. So the transition is behind us. The 100 days is officially behind us too. And as I look forward, my promise to this community is that I will always take this responsibility incredibly seriously. I will stay true to the vision I have shared with you many times. I will let you know how things are going. I will celebrate our successes, and I will acknowledge our setbacks and struggles. I said at the outset tonight that the reason I'm most excited for Akron is all of you and the energy for change that we're building. Akron is a place where we can all be part of making the change we want to see. Akron is a place where change is possible, and Akron is a place where change is happening. Thank you very much.